In an effort to improve the handling of my 2017 Civic EX Turbo, I installed the Progress 20.5mm rear sway bar. I'll link it up in the description so you guys can get some more details on it if you want, but basically it's 3.5mm larger than the stock sway bar, so it really does help kind of change the handling characteristics of the car. So in this video I'll just briefly talk about how to install it, then we'll go for a drive on a back road here, and I'll go over some of the differences between this setup and the stock setup. So installing the sway bar was actually relatively easy. I'd budget about an hour for it. Book time to replace the sway bar on this car in the rear is 6/10, so if you're really mechanically inclined you can probably do it in that, but if you're not so much, then I would say at least an hour would be a good amount of time to set aside for it. So basically you remove the stock rear sway bar. There's 6 bolts that hold it in. You take out the bolts holding on the end links to the control arms, and then there's also 2 brackets that hold the sway bar on that you remove as well, and then you take that out, and then you remove the end links from the stock sway bar, and that was by far the hardest part, was breaking those nuts loose. I don't know if maybe it's just kind of a weird quirk with my car or if they're all like that. I'm not really sure, but it was incredibly difficult to break those loose. But once you break those loose, take off the end links, put them back on the control arms, but don't torque down the bolts yet. Then you'll take the new sway bar, bolt it up with the supplied brackets, and then you will connect the end links to it and then torque everything down. So it's actually very easy once you get started with it. So we'll take the car for a brief drive on this back road here, and I'll talk about some of the differences between the stock setup and how it drives with the upgraded sway bar. So the biggest difference you notice immediately straight away with this sway bar is the car feels tighter, and it just kind of goes around corners less sloppily, if that makes sense. It just feels more planted. And we can go around corners at a much higher speed than we could before, and the car is much more stable. It doesn't flop around all over the place, and it doesn't understeer as much. There's more rotation out of the rear in corners. The whole experience is just more tidy. And it just goes around these corners like it's nothing. It really does handle a lot better than the stock setup.